All right, we are here. We made it. It is day 3 of the Build Your Own Tinder app challenge. Now, first of all, congratulations on getting thus far. I see so many people posting in the Facebook group, sharing screenshots of the really cool apps that they're starting to build. I'm super proud of you guys. This is awesome. And now that you are starting to think about building an app, now that the idea of building an app is actually real, it's actually possible for you, I want to take a moment today and do a little mini lesson for you on how to come up with a strong app idea. So we're going to talk about how to come up with a strong app idea outside of this Tinder app challenge. And then we're going to go back to some more work in the Tinder app challenge. So those are the 2 things we're going to do today. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen so you can see a couple of visuals that I want to show you that will help illustrate how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. Actually, let me share a different way. Let me share my entire screen. All right, here we go. How to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. Now, I want to really clearly articulate to you, this is important. There is a difference, the big difference between an app idea and an app business idea. Most people think that they're the same thing. They are not the same thing. An app idea, you can come up with an app idea at any time, any day. It's not even hard to come up with an app idea. What requires a lot of work and what is different and harder is coming up with an app business idea. Because coming up with an app business idea, one that makes you money, that has a structure around it, that actually is sustainable, that actually pays your bills, coming up with an app business idea requires a strategy. It requires a strategy. So I want to introduce you to something I call the SMART idea formula. The SMART idea formula. Now, the SMART idea formula are a series of questions that I'm going to ask you. And these questions allow you to brainstorm a strong app idea that you are already 100% qualified to build. So some of you guys already have ideas for apps. That's okay. We're going to do this little kind of SMART idea formula. I'm going to show it to you, and maybe it'll open your mind up to some additional ideas that you maybe hadn't thought of. Or if you don't have an idea yet, it'll help you come up with an idea that you can actually hit the ground running with as a business now that you're learning how to actually create an app in the first place. So let me give you an example of how the SMART idea formula works. I want to introduce you to an entrepreneur named Joshua Head. Now, Joshua is an entrepreneur I have had the pleasure of coaching in my 2-month coaching program. So he has gone through this 2-month coaching program where he and I work together on his app idea. So here's how the SMART idea formula works, because when I sat down and started working with Josh, when we started working on his app idea, I had a couple questions for him to help him really open his mind to the opportunities and possibilities for his business and his app business idea. So the first question I asked him was like, hey Josh, what do you do for work? And this was an easy question. He already knew the answer to this question. He said, I'm a music teacher. And he said, okay, wonderful. So Josh, as a music teacher, can you tell me one thing that you spend a lot of time and effort on at work? Tell me about that. Something you spend a lot of time and effort on. And he thought about it and he said, well, one thing that takes a lot of time is that I have to go to middle schools one by one to teach classes at their school. And I can only be in so many places at once. So I've got to do all this traveling back and forth. And I wish I could just clone myself so that I could have more clients and work with more people. Right? That's what he said. And so I said, okay, great. I have one more question for you, Josh. And my third question was, let's say, hypothetically, that you built an app to alleviate some of that stress, alleviate the fact that you have to go one by one to each school and that the schools all need you at once. If you had to alleviate some of that stress, what could happen, and you created an app to alleviate some of that, what would happen once someone logged in? Let's just brainstorm it. And Josh had no idea, but he just sat down and he thought about it. And he said, okay, well, just brainstorming. Maybe students could log into the app and they could complete lessons, and maybe they could work in teams with other students to compose songs inside of the app. And the teachers could give grades for the assignments that they worked on. And I could take that app and sell it to schools. So instead of me going one by one to the school, I can kind of take my entire program in an app format where they can create songs inside and teachers can grade and sell it to schools. right? Now, this is actually a true story. Josh is really an entrepreneur that I have coached. He built an app for schools to teach music classes. Now, he started with not having an app at all, but he now has 23 schools in Virginia, in the state of Virginia, who have written him a check to say, we love what you're doing. We want to have it in our school. Here's some money so we can use your app in our school. He's made $30,000 in revenue thus far. He has also gotten a $50,000 investment from people who said, oh my gosh, this is a great idea for an app. Here's some money. We want to see you take it to the next level. And he did all of that in 6 months. 6 months using this kind of process and formula that I teach. And so Josh says this app is definitely a revenue generating endeavor. I did not know it would grow as quickly as it did. We got television and radio interviews in the process. It's been a blessing. So now it's your turn to try the SMART idea formula. Get out a pen and paper if you'd like. I'd like for you to take some notes on this so you can do some brainstorming similar to how Josh did, so you can have those kinds of results in revenue as well. So again, the SMART idea formula, these are just questions to help you brainstorm a strong app idea that you're already qualified to build. So my first question for you, you want to write down the answer, is what do you do for work? You already know the answer to this. This is easy. Just write down, what do you do for work? Very simple. Okay. And the second thing I want you to write down is name one thing that you or your boss spends a lot of time or effort on at work. One thing you or your boss spends a lot of time or effort on at work. Just write down kind of some notes quickly about what that is. That's the second question. And my third question for you, you can just kind of brainstorm on a piece of paper. Let's say that you built an app to alleviate some of that stress that you or your manager or your boss spends a lot of time on at work. What would happen inside of the app once someone logged in? Kind of paint a picture for me on this piece of paper and then jot down some notes of what could maybe happen once someone logged in. Just do some brainstorming. If you'd like, this is a good moment to pause the video so that you can finish writing down the answers for 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so let me give you one more example of how the SMART idea formula works, because hopefully this is starting to bring up some cool ideas for you of ways, things that you already know about, areas in the market and an industry you already know about, that you can build a business around it, an app business around it, and completely crush and dominate the space. So let me give you one more example of how this SMART idea formula works. I want to introduce you to Carlos Rivera. Now, Carlos is another entrepreneur I've had the pleasure of coaching through my 2-month Apps Without Code bootcamp program, right? And so Carlos, when I started working with him, we sat down and I had similarly a couple questions. Now, these are slightly different than the questions that I originally asked Josh. The first question I asked Carlos was, hey, Carlos, what's one thing you do in your free time? And he sat down and he said, well, I like to play basketball. I said, okay, great, got it. I like to play basketball. And my second question for you is, what is one thing that is hard or time consuming about that hobby? And he thought about it and he said, well, one thing that's hard or time consuming is figuring out which courts are available when I want to play. Sometimes the court that I want to go to is busy. Sometimes I have to wait a long time and it gets really annoying. I don't have time to play because I've got to then go to work, whatever it might be, right? So figuring out which courts are available when I want to play. And then I said, okay, great. I have one last question for you. And this last question is, let's say that you built an app that alleviates some of that stress, right? Alleviates some of the stress of not knowing where to go and when to go and what's booked and what's not booked or what's available. What could happen inside of your app once someone logged in? Let's just brainstorm it. And Carlos had absolutely no idea, but he took down a piece of paper and he started brainstorming. And he said, well, let's see, gyms could maybe use it, and they could let all of their members log in and see which courts are free. And then the members could book the courts in advance, and I could sell this app to different gyms, and I could put the gym's branding on the app and charge them a lot of money because I put their branding on the app. By the way, that's called white labeling. White labeling is what that strategy is called, where you take your logo off and put their logo on and charge a lot of money for it. So again, this is a real true story. Carlos is an entrepreneur that I've coached. He built an app for gyms to let people book basketball courts. His first customer that was ready to go for a pilot of this was the YMCA, one YMCA location. and he charged them $300 a month to use the app. And he got all of this done, from the idea to actual app to actual money in the door, in 4 weeks. 4 weeks. So now again, I'm going to turn it back to you. Get out your pen and paper again. It is your turn to try the SMART idea formula one more time. I'm going to ask you slightly different questions this time to maybe jog or kind of bring up some new ideas. All right, ready? My first question for you is, what is one thing that you like to do in your free time? Write that down. One thing you like to do in your free time for fun. You love it. It's awesome. One thing you like to do in your free time. Got it? Okay. Now, the second thing I want you to write down is, what is one thing that is hard or time-consuming about that hobby? Don't overthink this. Just one thing that's hard or time-consuming about that hobby that you like to do in your free time. Write that down. And finally, let's just brainstorm for a moment, that you built an app that alleviates some of that stress. What could happen once someone logs in? Just bullet point a couple things, just list out what maybe they could do. They could get access to this. They could see recommendations for this. They could choose this. They could, all sorts of things inside of the app. Drop down some ideas of what that app could do. This is, again, another great time to pause the video if you want some more time to kind of write. Give yourself enough time, that's okay. All right. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, am I qualified enough to build an app business, to become an entrepreneur and build an app business? And the answer is absolutely yes. If you use the SMART idea formula, that is one way that you can take something, an idea space you already know about, an idea you already know about, a problem you already have, and directly go out and solve it. There's also a problem other people have too, right? And creating an app business around that allows you to be completely qualified to build your app. Now, do you have to use an app or have to build an app that follows the SMART idea formula? No, but I just wanted to give you this to kind of jog some ideas for you. And I'm really excited to hear some of the ideas that you guys have. So that is a little bit of a framework, a mini lesson on how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes that you're absolutely qualified to build and that you actually already know a lot about and are kind of an expert in. All right. So as you know, today is day 3 of our challenge. We're going to jump right back in and continue working and building. And actually today we're going to do some testing of your app. You always have to do planning for the app like we did on day 1. You always have to do some building like we did on day 2. And then you're going to come back around to testing before you repeat that process all over again. That's how building an app works in that process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my screen over. Let's see here. And I am going to share my other screen. Give me one moment. I'm going to switch over. And now you're going to follow along and be building with me again, just like we were before yesterday. So let's you can see my screen. Okay, so we are doing the create your own Tinder style recommendation app in 5 minutes. I'm currently on cloudmatchapp.com. So everybody go to right now, cloudmatchapp.com. Go to that website. And in the top right-hand corner, you're gonna click log in because you have already created an account yesterday. So now we're just going to log back in. Now, you may already be logged in from yesterday. So you may not see the screen. It may take you right inside of the app. That's okay. But if you do see the screen, you're going to log back in with whatever account you created yesterday and the password for that account and log in. If you're already logged in, you can skip that step. So it's going to take you to the inside of your app. Now, you are going to choose the app that you started yesterday. And on the left side, so again, I'm just going to repeat that. I just clicked on the app on this left side that I worked on yesterday. And at the very bottom of the left side, there is a link that says Share App. Share App. You're going to click on that. And it's going to give you a website link. You're going to highlight that and copy it. And then you're going to open up a new tab and paste it and go to that link. So this is the link you would provide your customers with. They're not going to see the administrative side where they change the settings. They can't change the settings. They're going to see this side, which is the side that's meant for them, right? So this is what they're going to see. So we're going to log in here. Now, you can log in with your same account, but you have to log in as a user to your app. So you're going to use your same password here, log in, and it says, we're finding matches for you, stay tuned. And the reason it says that is because there are no other users of the app. There's no one using the app right now to match me with. I am the first person to ever use this app right now, right? But that's okay. I'm gonna show you how to load kind of some sample users in so you can see how it works. So you're gonna click here where this menu is, and you're gonna click on profile. And here, you're gonna upload some profile information. We're gonna put a photo in, and we're going to put identify as, and a little bit of a bio. Make sure you do your identify as just for this current example as these two being opposite. Okay, so all right. So fill out the profile entirely. And also let's just write down on a piece of paper what these two drop downs were that we selected. So woman, man, just write that down because we're gonna use that later. Okay, so now, again, if you click on the matches tab, there's no matches yet because there's no one else using the app. And if you click here on chat, there's no chats yet because I don't have any matches, a conversation starting, because there's no one else using the app, right? So this is the first person who's using the app, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to create another user just so you can see what it'll look like when two people are using the app now and they can match up. Now to do this, we are going to use something called an incognito browser. It's called different things for different browsers. I'm using Chrome right now to use the internet. You can maybe use Safari or Firefox. Every browser has their equivalent, and I'll try to paste below a link for you to get instructions on how to do it for other browsers, but I'm using Chrome right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to, actually I can just grab this link up here, the link that I'm on for the site, or you can grab the share link, it's the same one. So grab the link, and you're gonna go, if you're in Chrome, you're gonna do File, New Incognito Window. And it's gonna pull up an incognito window. Now, what is an incognito window? An incognito window is just another browser tab that does not remember any of your previous login information. So we're gonna be able to sign in now and look side by side as two different users using the two different browsers. So you're gonna paste in that link and go to the site. And here it's going to, because it thinks we're a brand new user, it's gonna ask us to sign up. So let's sign up again with a name and an email. If you want, you can put another one of your emails that you own. Or you can make one up and a password. So you're gonna sign up, and we need to fill out the profile again. So let's do that. Let's fill out a profile. And here, we're gonna do the opposite categorization we did before. So before we did woman, man, we're gonna do man, woman, just for the purposes of this particular activity, and write a bio. Right, great. So now, if you click on the menu and click on matches, you can now see a match because there are now two people using the app. So there's a match that is now possible, or two people that match each other's criteria, and so a match is now possible. So you're gonna swipe right or click the heart here. Now you're gonna go back to the other tab, the non-incognito window you were using, the original one, and you're gonna click on the menu and click matches. And now there's another opportunity here to do a match. You're gonna click right here. And then you're going to click again on the menu, click chat. And now a conversation has opened up because there have been two matches on both sides. So you can click on this conversation, and it says break the ice and send the first message. Let's send a message. It is kind of strange, but we're gonna talk back and forth to ourselves as two different users just to test it out. Hey, how's it going? You can send a message. Now go back to the incognito browser and click on chat in the menu. And you can see this conversation going here. That person says, how's it going? It's great. How are you? This app is pretty cool. You can have this conversation back and forth and see what this is like, right? So this is what it'll look like if you have two different users, two or more users using your app. Does this make sense? All right, so now we have come down to the homework part, Now, here's what I want you to do. Here's your homework. I want you to click Share App, grab the link to this app, and paste it into the Facebook group. Paste it into the Facebook group, and I want you to type into your message, #day3, #Tinder challenge, and share one thing that you are learning thus far in the challenge, right? So grab the link, click Share App and grab the link. Go to the Facebook group and paste that link into the Facebook group. Put your two hashtags, #day3, #Tinder challenge, and share also some notes about one thing that you're learning or one thing you're finding interesting about this challenge. Make sense? All right. Now, one last thing you should know. I talked to you earlier about this experience that Josh had, that entrepreneur that I worked with at the music app, or that Carlos had that built the app for basketball courts, right? And for gyms and basketball courts. If you also want some help with your app idea, I have an amazing opportunity for us to work together for 2 months. It's called Apps Without Code Bootcamp. And just for you joining this challenge, I have a special bonus for you. This special bonus is actually 2 different bonuses. The first bonus that I have, if you want to work together, is that there's a 10% discount off Apps Without Code Bootcamp. 10% discount. So you'll be able to click the link below to cash in on that discount. That discount expires on Sunday, the same time that this whole challenge expires, because this content, this kind of lessons that I do, this is only available for folks who are in my 2-month training program, but I'm making it temporarily available to you guys. So you'll have a 10% discount with working with me for 2 months to take your idea, actually get it fleshed out, actually get it figured out, figure out how much you should charge, who your perfect customers are, and then actually build the app and get it out into the wild with a marketing strategy. We're gonna be doing all of that together. So the 10% discount to do that. And also you're gonna get a bonus 2-hour live session with me. We're gonna use this 2-hour live session to set up your app plan. So if you're not 100% sure of all the exact details you need to have as part of your app plan to make this work, we're going to be planning this together. We're going to come up with a social media marketing strategy. We're going to figure out all the different types of apps you should be building, which ones you shouldn't be building. And we're also going to talk about how much you should charge. I'm going to show you a way you can charge $50 a month or more with your app idea. So I'm going to be telling you more about Apps Without Code Bootcamp tomorrow, but if you want to check it out now and you're already excited about the idea of working with me for your app idea, you can click on the link below and check it out, and you can get enrolled starting today. If you want those bonuses, you need to use the code when you sign up, FAST10. FAST10 is the checkout code so that you can get that 10% discount and also the 2-hour live session with me. We'll talk in more detail about this coming up soon, but I'm really excited that you completed day 3. We're gonna keep working on stuff and keep building on day 4, and I'll see you soon.